Okay, folks, I'm back. JB, 949 News Now, stimulating talk. 860-464-9490-631-317-1949. It's a short segment right now. I'm in the studio with Lori Hopkins-Cavanagh. She's the one that's going to, we hope, send Joe Courtney back to Vernon. I guess that's where he lives. Heavy-duty stuff going on in Washington, D.C. We both agree that we seem to, well, he told us it was going to be change we could believe in. I just didn't realize, and I suppose I should have when we saw the plane with the logo on it. I think Rush Limbaugh says it looks like the wave going down into the toilet, the red, white, blue wave. He's got his own logo. I mean, it's nuts, Lori, and you know, we got to get people down there. I was just discussing with you the YouTube that Lee actually put up on his site with Elizabeth Esty and how she just shut down this old timer, and she said that we don't live in a yes or no world, and if you sent me to Washington, D.C. to fight with the president, you sent the wrong person. I looked up her vote. She has voted with the PAC every single time.
Yeah, more than Courtney. Courtney's 93%. He votes exactly the way Obama wants him to, and I think she's 97%.
It's unbelievable. We obviously need to send somebody down there that is not a cookie-cutter politician. You're not going down there so you can end up with a nice townhouse in Georgetown and go to Ruth Chris every night smoking cigars and drinking the fancy bourbon. I mean, that's fine if you're doing the people's work.
I'm going down there because I have a 13 and a 14-year-old right in front of you now, and I want my kids to grow up in a free country. Yeah. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
That's
simple as that.
No, you can't cut to the quick any better than that. I mean, it's unfortunate
we have citizens being targeted in our country right now. It's not politics as usual.
No, this is much worse.
It's much worse.
It's I mentioned Holder a little while ago. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But I thought that he would come out, at least recognize the 30-year sentence for the Mexican illegal alien that shot and killed a Border Patrol agent.
Yeah.
But no, he's on talking about how the government's going to be more resilient with recognizing same-sex couples that work for the government and getting their benefits.
These are non-issues. They want to pay attention to non-issues.
Awful. We'll be right back, folks.
The grid. The grid is the #1 security issue in our country today. The electric grid, if it goes down, it can devastation, loss of life. And what?
Okay, folks, we're back. It's JB with Lori Hopkins-Cavanagh, 860-464-9490-631-317-1949. You don't mind taking calls, do you, Lori?
No,
We've got some fans that want to call in and ask, hopefully, the person that will be sending in to Washington, D.C. It is unfortunate that we find ourselves here. We were just talking off the air. You talk about the epitome of just disingenuousness, if you will. Obama, 4 years ago now, comes up with this, I call it Obama don't care. And yesterday, he decides he's going to waive another portion of it so that if you're in business and you have 50 to 99 people and you were faced with this deadline, he's decided by caveat, by his signature, because he's, you know, the immaculated one, he's just waived it and pushed it off until 2016. It's bizarre almost. It's almost like Chuck Schumer the other day, who was pushing for amnesty, said, well, let's pass the law now, and if you think we're passing it because Obama wants to pass it because he wants more votes for Democrats, we'll pass it now, and we won't enact it until 2017. This is what these people are actually thinking, Lori. I don't get it.
Yeah. It's manipulation. In the inner city, the Republican brand has been so damaged by the press, I think in many respects so unfairly. Either the Tea Party, whichever brand of Republican you have, the branding has killed the Republican Party, and it's not justified. So what I did is I found myself looking at a lot of different political ideology and looking into libertarianism. I was a fan of, I am a fan of Rand Paul. I'm a fan of Ron Paul, his father, and just trying to find other methods of getting around the media bias that exists, that is killing the Republicans, in order to get the ideology of freedom, economic freedom and personal freedom out on the table, because our freedoms are being taken away from us. That's my
Let me ask you a question. How is it that the mainstream media and the print media are able to so regularly and routinely, without even the sleight of hand, just peddle Bravo Sierra, I call it, on a regular basis.
It's amazing.
And the
so
thing
biased.
that, you know what bothers me, and I've talked
Yeah.
about this for a long, long time, even before I had my own afternoon situation, is that the problem I have is coming from a family where my dad worked all day. He came home at 6 o'clock at night. So between 6 o'clock and like 6:20, before my mom gathered everybody and everybody was at the table to eat, he'd have about 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to catch up on the news. And it was, you know, Walter Cronkite, or it was Howard K. Smith and Harry Reasoner.
I grew up the same way.
So back then it was different. Back then
Yeah.
I think you gravitated towards the personality that you felt more comfortable with.
Mhm.
But there wasn't a variation in the news from the three big channels.
Right.
Now it's Crazyville in the mainstream media.
It's propaganda, is what it is.
It's
not.
nuts.
It's not even accurate, and it's vicious. The level. You know, what they do to conservative women in the media is atrocious.
Horrible.
I mean, and I really, as a conservative woman, I won't justify. I won't let them define who I am. I know who I am. I know where I stand, and I know a lot of people agree with my thought process, and including a lot of Democrats, a lot of many libertarians, and the majority of the Republican Party. So I'm hoping that that will be a winning team going to the election in November.
Me too. We're going to go to Mike from Stonington on line 1. Welcome to the show. It's JB and Lori Hopkins-Cavanagh on 949. No problem.
Thank you. You are so right. You are absolutely right on with that statement. And it's not only just in Washington, D.C., it's in Connecticut as well. You know, the Republican Party walked into my office, and I've been self-employed since I was 25 years old. I've started 2 companies, 2 large companies, and I've never really bowed down to anyone. I'm not used to it. So they walked in and basically said, you know, are you interested? And I said, I'd never even thought about it before, but I'm living down in Washington, D.C. in this virtual land of mine, really paying attention to the issues. I'm an issue-based person. But politically, there is the establishment, and then there's the people. And my passion is for the people, I not for the establishment. So how it works out, maybe you want to come down and join me in Washington, D.C. and see how it works. Let me explain my background for a moment. Before I owned my own real estate brokerage company, and I really have to say that the housing has become a major component of our economy, which it shouldn't be, but it is. Before I did that, I owned an advertising and PR firm, and I represented over 600 companies, large manufacturing companies such as, I was one of 13 agencies that handled the Pontiac division of General Motors. I was in Detroit all the time. I'm very familiar with manufacturing. I also represented small mom and pops. I represented banks. I represented hospitals, a wide gamut of businesses. I understand business probably better than just about anybody I know in terms of political background, because I had to live their business in order to come up with strategies to make them succeed. And that is my knowledge base. It's not just being a real estate broker.
Mike, thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it. It's JB, 949 News Now, Stimulating Talk. Of course, I'm in the company of Lori Hopkins-Cavanagh and her family, and of course, Phil, who's got his finger on the trigger. I will be right back. We will be right back. Don't you dare move. Okay, folks, I'm back. JB, 949 News Now, Stimulating Talk, 860-464-9490, 631-317-1949. I am pleased to have Lori Hopkins-Cavanagh, who is the 2nd District candidate for the Republicans, trying very hard, and I hope she's successful at sending Joe Courtney home. We are going to go to one of my favorite callers, Sylvia, on line 2. Hi, Sylvia.
Thank you so much. Well, I pray for me, and I appreciate it, because it is a mountain to climb, and I am up for the job, but it'll be an adventure, to say the least, and I hope I do make it to D.C. I really, truly envision myself there making some good changes for the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sylvia, very much. It's JB, 949 News Now, Stimulating Talk. If you want to be part of the show, 860-464-9490, 631-317-1949. And I am here with Lori Hopkins-Cavanagh. We're going to try to get her down to Washington, D.C. in Joe Courtney's place. She's certainly not going to go down there and be a mouthpiece for anybody but herself. She's going to go down there and represent the constituents from her district. And she's going down there from the perspective of being a business person, of being a mom, of being a wife. You run a business that is obviously in our communities, in our neighborhoods. You're a real estate agent, so you know that when the politicians like Obama are talking about how great it is that the unemployment is down, nobody talks about how they found out that they cooked the books before the election and it
That's
purposely
horrible.
kept it down below 7. All these things,
it's
Laurie,
terrible.
that it's unbelievable that they exist, that they attacked and went after 501c3s and 501c4s that were going to be raising money for conservative groups. They went after and targeted these people. And the other thing that's troubling to me, again, getting back to Holder, because he just makes me sick.
Yeah, he's a big problem.
How does a guy have to get fired? How is a guy that screws up so much? What does a guy have to do in that administration to get fired?
Well, it's not a matter of getting fired. They have a mission, and they're going to fulfill that mission, and they don't care who's incompetent. Competency has nothing to do with this. It has to do with forcing change in our country to rebuild America from the ground up. How do you do that? You get rid of the middle class, you get rid of small businesses, you grow the poor, finally you collapse the rich, and you have a completely new country. And that's where we're headed. And if people can't see the writing on the wall, and you have to disarm the American public in order to achieve that also. If people don't see the
Right.
writing on the wall, then they're blind. And if the newspapers don't want to report on it, fine, but I'm going to speak the truth. My mom is an immigrant from Italy. She came over here when she was 21. She lived through World War II under Mussolini's fascist government. I grew up hearing stories my whole life about government fascism. I know what communism and socialism and fascism and Marxism is, and I never expected to see it here. Rob Simmons said, he said, you know, I fought this all my life. I never expected to see it in my own country.
Well, we have. I know you listen to Lee's show. Rocky started calling Lee's show, and he checks in with me and checks in with Lee. Rocky is from Italy. He escaped socialism and communism. He came here because he believed the words of JFK when JFK went to the lectern, because he spoke with strength. He didn't read somebody else's words off of a teleprompter that's just out of the view of the camera.
Right.
There really isn't anything genuine about Barack Obama at all.
No, I don't think there is, and I have the deepest respect for the office of the presidency, and I don't think it's just Obama. I think that this has been going on for years, because President Clinton, when he introduced and he got on Obama's bandwagon, he made the statement, we are going to rebuild America from the ground up. Those were President Clinton's words. So these plans, Common Core national education, the gun policies, the regulations that are being imposed to take away our constitutional rights, these have been planned for a long time. It's part of a greater strategy. And we're losing that control over, we need to keep things local. We need local control over our land, local control over our money, local control over our laws, our students, our kids rather. You actually hear these liberal Democrats, bureaucrats in the education system saying that the kids belong to us. My kids don't belong to anyone but my family. And if we paid more attention to family values, and the strength of the family, then we wouldn't be in the mess we're in today.
Lori, thank you very much for coming into the show today. I'm going to
you,
have you
JB.
come back in a few weeks. It's JB, 949 News Now, Stimulating Talk. Been a great show today. Welcome the new callers. Thank you for the conversation. Make sure you tune in tomorrow to Lee Elsey. He'll be here with the Colonel and the Doc. It's JB. Have a